In my college, there were all kinds of politics. Of course, I was rather with the people of the left, but at that time, most of the young people were on the left. There were also ecologists, and political ecology at that time began to be very strong. It was a radical opposition to the system, to the capitalism and to the consumption society, but at the same time, this idea, this theory respect the freedom of the people and try to match the individual with the common good. 2 years ago, I began to think that I have to find another way to express. The environmental crisis where we live is historical. It's the first time in the history of humankind that we are in that situation. That is, the humanity is meeting the limits of the biosphere. Our policies don't move to change the thing, to adapt to this ecological situation. An oligarchy and upper class block the things. At the same time, we have a very big inequality in all Western countries. It's very different for 30 years ago. Since the 80s, we have been a big increase in all the countries, United States, Europe, Japan, of the inequalities. And with the constitution of an oligarchy, an upper class, who control the power, political, economic, and mediatic, and don't want to change. I base my argument on Thorstein Veblen, a very great economist, American economist at the end of the 19th. The upper class defines the cultural model for all the societies. In a society, every individual will try to imitate the way of life of the upper class. What happens when there is such inequality, like now? And what happens when the oligarchy spends his money? All the society is the same idea of overconsumption. If we want to prevent the deepening of the environmental crisis, in principle, it's very easy. We have to diminish our impact on the environment. We have to diminish our material consumption. You are not going to ask the African people, the Latin American people to diminish their consumption. No, it will be in our countries, in the United States, in France, in Japan, in Germany, that we will ask people to diminish their consumption. And not only the oligarchy, of course, they will have to diminish their consumption, but it would not be enough because they are not very numerous. It will be to all the middle class, me, you, okay, to begin to diminish our material consumption. But it will not be acceptable. We will not accept that if we go on with such inequality in our society. We will not accept to change our way of life if the big people do not change their way of life and if they are not bring back to the rest of the society. So the idea is that to prevent deepening of environmental crisis, we have to diminish our material consumption, and it will not be acceptable, it will not be possible if there is such inequality in our society. We could reorient our efforts less to material consumption, material production, and more for public goods, public relationship. And that is a good way. It's the way we should go if we want prevent the deepening of the environmental crisis and also improve our social situation.